Hello, and welcome to Podcast for English. My name is Linda. I'm really happy you're here today. This channel is for people who want to learn English in a simple and natural way. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to speak fast. You don't need to understand every word. You only need to listen. You can listen while you rest. You can listen while you work. You can listen while you live your daily life. Take a deep breath, relax your body, clear your mind. Now, let's begin today's English lesson together. In today's podcast, we are talking about a very simple idea. Today's topic is one small step in English every day. Many people believe progress needs big effort. They think learning English requires long study time. They believe change only happens when they do a lot. This belief creates pressure. Pressure makes learning feel heavy. Heavy learning is hard to continue. This episode is here to offer a different way. One small step is enough. A small step does not require motivation. It does not require high energy. It does not require perfect focus. It only requires presence. One small step can be listening for a few minutes. It can be hearing a familiar voice. It can be letting English exist quietly in your day. These small steps may feel unimportant. They may feel too easy, but they matter. Small steps keep the connection alive. Connection is more important than intensity. In this podcast, we will talk about why small daily steps work better than big plans. We will talk about how small actions protect consistency. And we will talk about how progress grows from simple habits. If you feel overwhelmed by studying, if you feel tired of starting and stopping, if you feel guilty for not doing enough, this episode is for you. You do not need to change your life. You do not need to push yourself. You only need one small step today, and tomorrow, one small step again. This is how English stays in your life, and this is how progress begins. Small steps are easier for the brain to accept because they do not create fear. The brain is always looking for safety. When something feels heavy or demanding, the brain resists. Resistance is a natural reaction. Big goals often trigger this resistance. Long study sessions feel threatening. High expectations feel stressful. When the brain senses pressure, it tries to protect you. It creates excuses. It creates avoidance. Small steps feel different. A small step does not look dangerous. It does not ask for much time. It does not ask for much energy. Because of this, the brain stays calm. Calm is important for learning. A calm brain stays open. An open brain accepts new information. Small steps also reduce decision stress. You do not ask yourself big questions. You do not plan complicated routines. You simply do something small. This simplicity helps the brain relax. Another reason small steps work is familiarity. When you take one small step every day, English feels regular. Regular things feel normal. Normal things do not create fear. They become part of life. The brain learns best from things that feel normal, not from things that feel forced. Small steps also protect your emotions. You do not feel disappointed. You do not feel like you failed. Because expectations are small, success feels easy. This feeling of success matters. It tells the brain that learning is safe. Safe learning continues. Over time, these small steps build trust. You trust yourself to show up. You trust the process. Trust reduces stress. Reduced stress allows learning to grow. The brain does not need big actions to change. It needs repeated, gentle contact. Small steps provide this contact every day. This is why small steps are powerful. They work with the brain, not against it. And when the brain accepts learning easily, English stays in your life without struggle. One small step protects consistency because it removes pressure from the process. Consistency often breaks when learning feels heavy, when the task feels too big, when the effort feels too demanding. A small step changes this feeling. When the step is small, you do not negotiate with yourself. You do not wait for motivation. You do not wait for the perfect moment. You simply act. This simple action keeps English present. Presence is the foundation of consistency. One small step also reduces fear of failure. You cannot fail at something small. You cannot fall behind when the goal is gentle. Because failure feels unlikely, you return more easily. Another way small steps protect consistency is through routine. Small actions are easy to repeat. Repetition creates habit. Habits do not depend on mood. They continue even when energy is low. This is important over time. Life changes, schedules change, energy changes. Big routines break under these changes. Small steps adapt. A small step fits into busy days. It fits into tired days. It fits into uncertain days. Because it fits, it stays. Small steps also protect emotions. You do not feel guilty for missing something big. You do not feel disappointed in yourself. Instead, you feel capable. Feeling capable encourages return. Return strengthens consistency. Over time, small steps build identity. You see yourself as someone who touches English every day. This identity matters. When English becomes part of who you are, you do not ask whether to continue. You simply do. Consistency grows quietly this way, not through effort, but through ease. One small step may not look impressive, but it is reliable. And reliability is what keeps English in your life over the long term. Missing days does not break the small step approach. Many learners believe consistency means never missing a day. When they miss one day, they feel they failed. This feeling often leads to stopping completely. This belief is harmful. The small step approach works because it is flexible. It does not depend on perfection. It depends on return. Missing a day is part of real life. Busy schedules appear. Tired days happen. Small steps are designed to survive these moments. When the step is small, returning feels easy. You do not feel behind. You do not feel pressure to catch up. You simply continue. The small step approach also changes how you think about time. Learning is not counted in streaks. It is counted in presence. Presence means English stays close over time, even with gaps. A few missed days do not erase familiarity. They do not erase habit. They do not erase progress. What breaks consistency is guilt. Guilt makes returning hard. The small step approach reduces guilt. You never promise more than you can give. So you do not feel like you broke a promise. Another important idea is trust. You trust yourself to come back. You trust the process to continue. Trust removes fear. Fear blocks learning. Missing days also give the brain space. Rest helps memory. Rest supports long-term learning. When you stop judging missed days, you stop fighting yourself. Learning becomes calm. Calm learning lasts longer than strict learning. The small step approach is not fragile. It is forgiving. It bends without breaking. This is why it works over time. You do not need perfect consistency. You need gentle return. And gentle return keeps English alive in your life. Choosing the right small step is important because not every small step fits every life. A small step should feel easy. It should feel natural. It should not create resistance. If a step feels heavy, it is not the right one. The right small step fits into your current life, not your ideal life, not a future version of you. It fits who you are today. One helpful way to choose a small step is to notice your energy. Some people have energy in the morning. Some people only have energy at night. Your small step should follow your energy, not fight it. If you feel tired most of the day, listening is a good choice. Listening does not require effort. It allows English to stay present quietly. Another way to choose a small step is to look at your routine. What do you already do every day? Walking, driving, resting. You attach English to something that already exists. This makes the step automatic. The right small step also feels repeatable. You can imagine doing it tomorrow and the day after. If you cannot imagine repeating it, the step is too big. Another important point is enjoyment. The small step should feel neutral or pleasant. It should not feel like punishment. Enjoyment does not mean excitement. It means comfort. Comfort makes return easy. You do not need many small steps. One is enough. You do not need to change it often. Stability helps habit grow. Over time, the small step becomes familiar. Familiar actions require less energy. Less energy means more consistency. Choosing the right small step is an act of kindness. You respect your limits. You respect your life. When the step respects you, you are more willing to keep going. And when you keep going, progress follows quietly. One small step is enough to create long-term change because change depends on continuity, not force. Long-term change is built slowly. It grows from repetition. It grows from familiarity. A single small step repeated many times becomes powerful. The brain changes through exposure. When English appears every day, even briefly, the brain adapts. Adaptation does not need intensity. It needs time. Small steps reduce resistance. When there is no resistance, learning continues. When learning continues, change becomes inevitable. Another reason small steps work is sustainability. You can maintain a small step for a long time. You can carry it through busy days and tired periods. Big efforts often stop. Small efforts stay. Long-term change also depends on emotion. Learning must feel safe. Learning must feel manageable. Small steps create safety. They do not threaten your energy. They do not demand perfection. This emotional safety allows the brain to open. An open brain learns deeply over time. Small steps also shape identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who touches English every day. This identity supports long-term behavior. When behavior matches identity, it continues naturally. Another important point is patience. Small steps teach patience. You stop rushing results. Rushing creates frustration. Frustration breaks habits. Patience allows growth to happen quietly. Long-term change rarely feels dramatic. It feels normal. It feels gradual. One day, you notice English feels closer. You notice listening feels easier. You notice less fear. These changes did not come from one big effort. They came from many small steps. A small step does not promise fast results. It promises lasting results. And lasting results are what truly matter. This is why one small step, taken again and again, is enough to change your English over time. Staying patient is often the hardest part of learning English. Progress feels slow because it is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not show up clearly every day. When you take one small step each day, you may feel like nothing is changing. This feeling is normal. The brain does not change in visible jumps. It changes through accumulation. Small pieces connect over time. Patience begins with understanding this process. When you expect fast results, small steps feel useless. When you expect long-term change, small steps feel meaningful. Another way to stay patient is to change what you look for. You stop looking for big improvement. You start noticing comfort. You notice that English feels less heavy. You notice less fear when listening. You notice more calm. These are signs of progress. Patience also grows when you stop comparing yourself. Everyone has a different pace. Everyone has a different life. Comparing creates pressure. Pressure destroys patience. You return your attention to your own path, your own small steps, your own rhythm. Another helpful idea is trusting repetition. Repeating the same small action may feel boring, but repetition builds familiarity. Familiarity is what makes English feel natural later. You may feel impatient because effort feels invisible, but invisible effort is still effort. The brain remembers more than you think. Even when you do not feel progress, connections are forming. Patience also means allowing bad days. Some days feel empty. Some days feel pointless. These days do not cancel progress. They are part of the process. When you accept slow progress, you stop fighting it. When you stop fighting, learning becomes lighter. Patience is not waiting without action. It is continuing without panic. One small step each day, taken calmly, leads further than rushing. And patience is what allows those steps to continue. One small step every day does not change English quickly. It changes English quietly. Quiet change is easy to miss. There is no big moment. There is no clear before and after, but the change is real. Each small step keeps English present in your life. Presence creates familiarity. Familiarity creates comfort. Comfort reduces fear. Reduced fear makes learning easier. Over time, English stops feeling like a task. It feels like something normal, something you can approach without stress. This is an important transformation. When English feels normal, you listen more calmly. You understand more naturally. You speak with less tension. These changes did not come from effort. They came from consistency. One small step every day also changes how you see yourself. You no longer see yourself as someone who starts and stops. You see yourself as someone who continues. This identity matters. When you see yourself as a consistent learner, you trust the process. You trust small actions. Trust removes anxiety. Anxiety often blocks progress more than lack of ability. Another quiet transformation is emotional strength. You stop feeling guilty for doing little. You stop feeling pressure to do more. Learning becomes calm. Calm learning lasts longer than intense learning. Over weeks and months, small steps add up. The brain adapts. Understanding grows. You may not remember when it happened. You only notice that things feel easier. This ease is the result of many small moments. Moments that felt simple. Moments that felt unimportant. But they mattered. One small step every day does not promise fast results. It promises lasting change. It allows English to grow with your life, not against it. And when English grows this way, it stays with you. This is how small steps quietly transform your English, not by force, but by presence. You've reached the end of today's episode. Before you leave, I want you to remember one simple thing. You did something good for yourself today. You listened. You stayed. You didn't give up. And that matters. Learning English is not about being fast. It is not about being perfect. It is about showing up. again and again. Some days will feel easy, some days will feel hard. Both are normal. Progress does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes you don't notice it at all. But learning is still happening. Every minute you listen, your ears are learning new sounds. Your mind is learning new patterns. Your confidence is growing, even if you cannot see it yet. You don't need to push yourself. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You are on your own path, and your pace is enough. Let English be part of your daily life. Listen while you rest. Listen while you work. Listen while you live your normal day. If this episode helped you feel calmer, more focused, or more motivated, then your time here was well spent. Come back when you can. Come back when you need a quiet space to learn. My name is Linda, and this is Podcast for English. Thank you for learning with me. Until next time, keep going and never give up. Believe in yourself, because you are stronger than you think.